Good morning, Read 180 students. Today is Tuesday, April 14th, and we're going to be working on Lesson 3 in Workshop 3, Life in Dystopia. Before we get started, I'd like you to make sure you have your book in front of you and a pencil as we work through pages 130 and 131, which is your assignment for today. You can look at the learning target. It says I can identify and explain the important details in an informational text. And we're going to be working on identifying syllables to read unfamiliar words. All right, before we get started though, I want you to look at this next slide. And it's, as we're moving forward in our real book, this is the scoring rubric that we're going to be using. Since we're doing this a little bit differently than if you were in class, this is kind of one way for me to make sure that you're understanding the material. So every assignment is for these 2 pages or moving forward, you will earn 5 points for your work in the real book. You'll be doing an awesome job if you can answer completely, your answers are accurate, you have correct grammar, your spelling is accurate, and you have grade level handwriting. And what I mean by accurate spelling is that if you're copying from the text, if you're copying from a chart, I want to make sure that you are copying it correctly. I'm not going to grade for just your everyday spelling, but if you're choosing and finding text evidence from the reading, I want you to be sure that you're copying it correctly. That's what I mean by accurate spelling. You'll get 3 points if you're doing okay. That means some of the answers are incomplete. For example, if you have to come up with 3 ideas and you only give me 2, you're going to miss some points because your answers are incomplete. If they're inaccurate, if you just put something down and it doesn't really pertain to what we are working on or reading, you may lose points there. Again, if you have some errors in spelling or grammar, and your grade level handwriting is still neat. You will get a 1 point, which means you need to do more effort. That means many of your answers are incomplete or inaccurate. You have many errors in spelling and grammar. And again, that means that if you're not copying it correctly from the text, you're going to lose points. And if your handwriting is below grade level or difficult to read, I'm going to have to take points off for that. So again, these 2 pages and moving forward will be worth at least 5 points. If it's different, I will let you know in the upcoming assignments. So we're going to start on page 130, and today we're going to be introducing the ideas of utopia and dystopia by reading the informational text Worlds Gone Wrong. Okay? Now, when we start exploring dystopian fiction, which is a type of genre, we're going to be reading this informational text. And using this literature, we're going to look for details that are characteristics of this type of genre of writing. But before we get reading, we're going to look at 2 academic vocabulary words. The 2 words are perfect and imaginary. If you look at the definition, perfect means to be without flaws or defects. And I think of, if I was using a sentence, I might say, a perfect day for me is spending time with my family. Okay, so I want you to write the meaning and then you'll be providing your own example. My idea of a blank day, which would be a perfect day, would include what? Our second word is imaginary, and imaginary means something that is not real. So I might think of an imaginary place that I read about was Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And so again, it's not a real place. So I want you to go ahead and come up with your own example. So one imaginary place that I have read about is blank. Now, if you have to pause the video to complete this, go ahead, but I would like you to make sure you fill in the meaning and the examples for the 2 vocabulary words. Once you finish that, I would like you to read pages 130 and 131, and you're going to be prepared to answer the key idea question on page 131 when you're done. And that key idea question is, what is the main idea of this text? So go ahead and pause this recording And we'll start up again once you have completed pages 130 and 131. All right, so now we're going to take a little bit closer look at the story World's Gone Wrong. And in this, you're going to identify central ideas and details. Now, we're going to use the key information to help that question, to answer that question. Now, again, let's just review. We know utopia is an imagined place or a state of things in which everything is perfect. Everyone is happy. When you look at dystopia, it's a work of fiction describing an imaginary place where life is extremely bad because of deprivation or oppression of terror. Now, we're going to go back. I want to have you reread paragraphs 3 and 4. And you'll notice that in paragraph 3, they explain life is like a dystopia, and they gave 4 examples that I saw. Life is miserable, wars could rage, evil people rule, and individuals have no freedom. Okay. So before we finish this piece of the lesson, I want you to pause this recording, and you're going to come up with 3 essential details in this text. Now remember, you don't have to try to create your own. I want you to go back into pages 130 and 131, and I want you to find that text evidence that talks about 3 essential or main details of this reading. Okay. Now that you have finished that piece of the story and questions on page 131, we're going to work on something called foundational skills, and the focus is identifying syllables. Okay. And why is it important to learn how to identify syllables? Well, there's kind of 3 reasons. Dividing words into parts or chunks helps you to decode. Knowing the rules can help you read more accurately and fluently. And understanding syllables helps you to be a better speller. Now, we're going to count vowel spots in words. So if you look at this first top box where it says identify syllables, counting the vowel spots in unfamiliar words to find the number of syllables. Each syllable or word part or chunk has 1 vowel sound. Okay? So if we look at the word comment, we know it has 2 vowel spots. What I want you to do is, and remember a vowel is A, E, I, O, or U. So in the word comment, I want you to circle the O and the E. We know that some vowel sounds are spelled with more than 1 vowel letter. When there are 2 vowel letters, count them as 1 vowel spot. Now, if we look at the word reason, I'd like you to circle the E and the A, and then I'd like you to circle the O. I want you to also look at the word escape, and we're going to circle the letter E, A, and E. Okay. Now, reason and escape have 2 vowel spots, so we know they have 2 syllables. Now, if you look down a little farther, in your book, you will see it is divided. Comment. Now, when you were younger, you were probably taught how to clap out, sounding out a word, and so kind of saying it to yourself and clapping. So, comment. Now, you'll notice the vowel O is in the first spot, and the E is in the second spot, in the second piece. We do the same thing with the word reason. Reason. You'll notice the E and the A have 1 vowel spot in the first part, and the O has the second vowel spot. And the last word, escape. You'll notice the E, the first letter E, has the first vowel spot, but that A and that E kind of goes together even though there's a P in between it. And it sounds a little confusing, so no worries. We'll just do the best we can. So what I'm going to have you do before we finish the lesson is the practice and apply. I'm going to have you read the directions carefully, Now, as you're doing this, if you have any questions or you're a little bit kind of not really sure, please refer to the information in the slide right above it. That will kind of help give you a little guidance as you complete these syllables or complete 1 through 5. Now, when you're done with all of this on pages 130 and 131, again, I'm going to ask you to take a picture of it and submit it in Google Classroom. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know, and I will try to answer the best I can. This is it for today. Like I said, once you finish this up, you will be done with this lesson. You just don't want to fall behind. So if you are missing some assignments for me, it might be smart to go back and do a couple of those and get those submitted. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night or have a good day. Goodbye.